So, Laurie, let's talk about leading change. We all know that change is constant. I like to think of it as change as the new normal. Things are certainly not slowing down there, and employees really have to embrace change. How does a great leader get people to embrace change?
It's fascinating, really, when we think about change and how a leader has to look at the people at hand as well as what they're trying to change. What happens too frequently is the leaders focus so much on what they're trying to change instead of the people side of it. And it can be the best change initiative ever. It can be the best idea. It can be 100% great quality. But if there's any resistance, as we know, it's going to cause, at the very least, a lack of efficiency, and effectiveness in that change. And there's actually a change equation that I love that Jack Welch came up with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's very simple, the equation, and it helps us to kind of really see the value of focusing on getting people to accept change. How he describes this equation is you think about the effectiveness of any change, and you'd say that's the E, represented by E. It's equal to, first of all, the quality of what it is that we're trying to change, that would be Q, times A, which is the acceptance of the people. The Q times A is what's going to get you to the effective change. Think about it. If it's the best change initiative ever and we say, okay, it's 100% great, but put some numbers to it, say 10 is the top change that 10 would be the greatest it could be. So the quality is at a 10, but the acceptance is maybe at a 5. Then it's going to be 50% at most. It's going to be lacking the effectiveness and efficiency that it could have. So if there's no acceptance, you can see the impact on change. What's so crucial is that leaders need to sit back and really think about a change initiative. How do we lead change? How do we really think about not just what it is that we're trying to change and even the future goal of that, but how do we look at the people that we have and make sure that we roll this out in a way that makes sense for them and helps them to be able to not just follow, but actually take hold and lead the change themselves.
And we always talk about, employees, they need to embrace change. They need to understand that that's how things are now in the business environment. But I still believe that it's still up to the leadership to create an environment where that embracing change becomes possible.
Yeah.
It's still their responsibility, right?
It's so true. And we often will hear that, oh, people resist change. They resist change. Well, they wouldn't resist change if it was rolled out properly. They wouldn't resist change if we had the correct environment, the trust in place. It's not about resisting the change. It's more about resisting how the change was brought about to them or who it is that's asking them for this change. You even think about, the way the change is being brought down. Are they being told, okay, this is what you have to do, just go do it?
So ordered, go.
Yes, ordered, instead of helping them to see, okay, this is why. Yeah. And here's the impact, and here's what we've got to do with this. And that's the way to really get people to accept and embrace change.
Well, talk about your model, the 5 steps of change.
Sure.
I find that to be the most impactful tool that I could think of to do just this.
Yes, exactly, because this is how to get people to accept change. And the 5 steps of change, it starts with awareness as step 1. People need an awareness, first of all, that they even need to make a change. And so a leader's role is to create that awareness, to help people with that awareness. The second step is desire. So that's the what's in it for me. How do I see how I am going to benefit, or it's, my purpose, my link in this whole thing, what makes sense to me? There's got to be not just for the company, not just for the boss, it's got to be what's in it for me to do this. And then the third step is the how. And so often we need to be taught. We need the technique. How do I make this change? What new skills do I need? What new mindset might I need? Once we have the how, it's all about taking action. And often, as you can imagine, people get stuck there. It's like, I know how to do this, but maybe the environment hasn't been set in a safe way so that people can make a mistake. So they're afraid to even start because they're afraid that they'll fall flat on their face and then, it won't be successful. And we've got to, again, as leaders, create a space for people to take steps, build their confidence, build their self-esteem so that they can take that action and feel good about it, so that then the fifth step is they can persevere, they can keep going. And obviously they're going to fall off track once in a while, and that's our role
normal.
too. Yeah, that's normal. Having this 5 steps to change helps from a personal standpoint to look at it, how would I go through the 5 steps to change? But it also helps a leader to understand when you're trying to get people to accept change, it's all about creating that awareness, desire, the knowledge, helping them with that, taking the steps, and then helping them with a system to keep them on track.
I mean, in closing, I don't think you can call yourself a leader in the modern business sense of that word if you're unable to get your team to embrace change.
That's true. And it is so much more about the leader creating the environment and leading that change than it is about the whole issue of people resisting change.